Bow making. What do we need to learn and how do we do it?
After we've taken a bow stave like this and we've marked it out how we want to the correct dimensions, we're going to have to remove a lot of the material, which is what Steve's doing here with a knife that he's using as a draw knife.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a stick with a normal mooring knife stuck into the end.
So this stage is pretty simple. We're just going down to our dimensions, removing a lot of material until we move on to what we call floor tillering. Before we start the tillering process, we need to make sure that this part of the bow, the back of the bow, is smooth, it doesn't have any tool marks or any splinters, because when it's under strain, of course, it could break. So Steve's here with his cabinet scrape, just smoothing everything out before we start bending it. The tillering process is really a two-stage thing. One part is to train the wood so it starts getting used to bending. The other part is to get the bow to bend evenly. We don't want to get a part of the bow trained to bend and other parts not, because then we get what we have here. We call this a hinge. We don't want the bow to be whip-ended, and we don't want it to bend too much in the handle. We want it to have a nice even bend like this, and we keep doing this until we get it to whatever draw length that we have. I'd be around a 29-inch draw length. The reason we don't want whip-ended bows or bows that bend too much in the handle or bows with hinges is when that weight isn't evenly distributed, it's more likely to break and it's not as energy efficient. So it's an all-round win if we get it right for more energy efficiency and much longer life in the bow. Steve is now doing floor tillering. This is a preliminary tillering before we get it on the pulley system. And he's just looking for areas that are stiff so he can remove more material and get that even bend. Progressed with the floor tillering, so now it's time to get some knocks in the bow so we can actually string it up to a lower brace height and then move actually onto the tillering jig. Okay, now we're on to the tillering jig. This is where the rest of the bow is really going to get made, and we're simply looking for areas that are stiff, which we're going to remove material from with a cabinet scrape. Now we're progressing, we need to actually make some proper bowstring. This is Dacron, it has absolutely no stretch at all, and each strand has a breaking point of 50 pounds. When we're looking at bowstrings, that's what we're after, something with no stretch, because we want all the energy to come from the bow. There you have it, some basic key principles to bow making. Steve's bow is now finished, strung up, and to a fist brace height. Please click like and follow.